Welcome to Experiments in Happiness with Michelle Lemus, the podcast for high achieving women who've checked all the boxes but still feel something's missing.
Hi, it's Michelle. Last time I shared a bit about how I built the life I thought I was supposed to want, and how even with all the success, something still fell off. Today, I want to dig a little deeper into something that shaped my entire mindset for years without me even realizing it. It's the phrase, I'll be happy when. I used to say that all the time. I'll be happy when things slow down. I'll be happy when I lose weight. I'll be happy when I finally take a real vacation. I'll be happy when I make more money. I'll be happy when I buy the next thing. I'll be happy when I get the degree, the promotion, the whatever. There was always one more thing I had to achieve before I deserved to feel happy. Sound familiar? It felt harmless, almost like a little promise, something to look forward to. But if you've been there too, then you know that moment never really comes because there's always one more goal, one more thing to prove, one more reason to wait to be happy. And what I've realized is I'll be happy when isn't just a phrase, it's a mindset, a deep habit of delaying happiness until some external condition is met. And it's tricky because it feels like ambition. It feels like motivation. It feels like it's pushing you to get where you should be. But really, it's a moving target. No matter how much you achieve or how hard you work, it keeps pushing the finish line further away. Back when I was overworking myself in healthcare leadership, especially during COVID, this phrase ran on autopilot and kept me pushing myself. I kept telling myself it was all good. I'd be happy when I felt caught up. But my inbox was never empty, and I was always last on my own to do list, if I even made it to the list at all. And here's what I learned the hard way: you can check every box, have the job, have the title, have the income, you can be praised and promoted and even envied, and still feel completely hollow. In episode 1, I talked about how I reached a point where I looked around and thought, why doesn't this feel like enough? And the answer wasn't that I needed to work harder, no matter what they taught me in all those years of school. The answer was that I spent years trading my present peace for a future that never seemed to arrive. That's what I'll be happy when does. It tricks you into believing happiness lives later. And the longer you believe that, the further away it gets. Let's talk about what actually happens when we live in this I'll be happy when mindset. It's not just that we miss out on happiness. We start designing our entire life around chasing, proving, and earning instead of experiencing. We train ourselves to believe that happiness is conditional. And you know what happens when you do that for long enough? You start to mistrust happiness. Yep, even when good things do happen, your brain doesn't fully let them in. You're already scanning for the next fire to put out, the next goal to chase, the next improvement project in your life. Let me give you a little example from my life. You may or may not know that in my 20s, I got divorced. I'm happily remarried now to a crazy boy who is completely stuck with me. But looking back, after my divorce, my daughter was still little, and I had finally set up life the way I thought I wanted it. My own space, my own routines, no one else calling the shots. And for the first time in a long time, things were quiet. No one needing me, no one pulling me towards the next crisis or goal, just space. Just the freedom that I always thought I wanted. But instead of feeling free, I felt completely lost. If I wasn't chasing a goal, if I wasn't being useful, I didn't know who I was without that. It didn't really hit me then. I knew something was wrong, but I thought I was that something. But looking back, that was the moment I started questioning things. It would take me more than 10 years to start really unraveling it all, but that was the beginning. that quiet, that discomfort, that first crack in the I'll be happy when mindset that I didn't even know I was living in. That's what this mindset does. It hijacks you and it's completely exhausting. So let's zoom in, not on the future, but on today. Ask yourself, what did I ignore because I was too busy pushing for what's next? What simple pleasure did I skip over because I didn't think it was productive enough? What connection did I rush past because I was focused on the finish line? What moment did I miss because I was afraid to wait to reply to that work message on my phone? Sometimes happiness isn't loud or dramatic. It's stopping for a meal instead of eating at your desk. It's laughing at an episode of Young Sheldon with your kid. It's singing in the car to your favorite song. If we don't practice noticing that stuff, we forget it exists. What if your life isn't waiting to start, but it's already happening? What if I'll be happy when became what can I appreciate now? How can I show up today like the version of me I'm chasing? What would make today feel even 5% more like the life that I want? Because here's the thing, if you don't learn how to feel happiness now, you won't magically feel it later. Future circumstances don't create lasting happiness, habits do. Presence does, and permission to enjoy without guilt. So, what if we stopped waiting? What if just for this week you caught yourself every time that phrase showed up? I'll be happy when. Stop, notice it, ask, what am I postponing happiness for? And is there a small piece of that happiness I could experience now? Because the truth is, you don't have to abandon your ambition to feel good today. You can want more and give yourself permission to enjoy the life you're in right now. So that's your next experiment. I'm calling it the someday audit. Just like the joy audit from episode 1 helped you notice what actually sparks happiness, this one helps you catch the patterns that delay it. Here's how it works. Every time you hear yourself say or even think, I'll be happy when, or I'll feel better after, or I'll finally relax when, write that down and then ask yourself, what's the feeling that I'm chasing? Can I try some small version of that right now? Even 5% or even 10 minutes, because the life you want isn't some far off reward. Pieces of it can show up now if you let them. I know how easy it is to live in future mode. I did it for years. But happiness doesn't live in the hustle or the next goal or the someday vacation. It lives in tiny, honest moments when you stop waiting and start paying attention. If anything in this episode hit home for you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you try the someday audit experiment, I'd really love to hear what you discover. You can always find me on LinkedIn. Thanks for hanging out with me today and listening to Experiments in Happiness. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to Experiments in Happiness. You can find more tools and resources at experimentsinhappiness.com.